Hey, hockey card fans, Hockey Night in Belmont's back. Today we're going to be looking at the 1988 O-PEE-CHEE set, which is the orange back set, bright orange of that. This is famous because it's the year Wayne Gretzky was traded, the summer of '88, shortly after the Oilers won the Stanley Cup. And he's in his LA Kings uniform right away. They changed their uniforms from purple and gold to the silver, white, and black. He was traded along with Mike Krushelinski and Marty McSorley for Jimmy Carson, a first-round pick in '89, a first-round pick in '91, and a first-round pick in '93. Edmonton should have been able to rebuild with that kind of draft. Like I said, Edmonton won the Stanley Cup that year, their fourth Stanley Cup in 5 years, and their fifth trip to the Stanley Cup final in 6 years. '88-'89 was the year they lost they didn't go to the Stanley Cup final. Calgary met Montreal in the Stanley Cup final. You see Jimmy Carson's there. He's in his airbrushed Oiler uniform. He was with the Kings, moved to the Oilers. Meloche is with the Pittsburgh Penguins. He'd been a long-time Minnesota North Star. And before that, the Cleveland Barons and the California Golden Seals. Mario Lemieux, he's card number 1. Stéphane Richer, he scored 50 goals in '87-'88, becoming the first Montreal Canadian to score 50 goals since Guy Lafleur. Did it in '79-'80. Stéphane Richer would do it again in 1989-'90. And no other Montreal Canadian has done that for 34 years. Which really sucks. But what can you do? These cards are pretty nice. Not crazy about the pin. This is also Joe Nieuwendyke's rookie card. It's one of Billy Smith's last cards, I believe. I don't think he had too many more after this. The Islanders, their dynasty was long gone, and they were rebuilding at this time. Mike Bossy just retired. Clark Gillies was gone to Buffalo. John Tonelli would go to Calgary to help them win a cup, and Brian Trottier would go to Pittsburgh. We would win 2 more cups with the Penguins before calling it a career. One thing to note, this card series is only 264 cards in the whole set. This is also the second year that they did not include any leaderboards. No leader cards. Which kind of sucks, but it means that you can have more players. 1985 is the year that Mario Lemieux's rookie year card. The O-PEE-CHEE scaled down from 396 cards in a set to 264. Just to save money, which really sucked because a lot of players would not get a card now. Only the main stars. Most teams, only maybe 10 players on a team would get a card. Canadian teams generally got a few more players. Chris Nyland playing for the Rangers. This is also the time where Doug Gilmour was traded from the St. Louis Blues to the Calgary Flames. Which is interesting because Doug Gilmour was traded with Steve Bozic, Mike Dark, and Mark Hunter to Calgary Flames for Mike Bullard, Craig Cox, and Tim Cockery. Obviously, Bullard was the centerpiece for that trade for the Blues, but the Blues gave up way too much. They traded away way too much to get Mike Bullard. Mike Bullard was a good player, a 50-goal scorer with Pittsburgh when Pittsburgh was really bad. This is also Brett Hall's rookie year. Brett Hall was traded at the trade deadline in '88 with Steve Bozic. So he was traded from Calgary. Steve Bozic came from St. Louis to Calgary and was now going back to St. Louis for Rob Ramage and Rick Walmsley. Calgary shot themselves in the foot with this one. But Calgary figured they needed a veteran defenseman and a second goalie. So St. Louis made a bad trade, and then Calgary made a bad trade. But Calgary was laughing because they would win a Stanley Cup in '88-'89. Bobby Carpenter, you see him, he's in the old LA King uniform. But they got the new symbol. Joe Mullen was at Calgary. Rick Vaive was at Chicago. Clark Gillies in Buffalo. Sean Burke's rookie card. Got the checklist. There's 2 checklists, so they're the only cards that aren't players. So there's 262 players in all. Bobby Bourne was with the LA Kings. He had been in 4 Stanley Cups with the Islanders. So the Islanders were rebuilding with Pat LaFontaine and Patrick Flatley. Patrick Waugh, his 3rd year card. And there's the card that I needed to complete the set, Brendan Shanahan's rookie card. Paid $10 for it at a collectibles expo. And then I have Wayne, of course my water heater kicks in. And I have Wayne Gretzky up in the corner there. He doesn't have a trade deadline card, like trade with Edmonton. They just gave him a card right away in his new uniform. While Luc Robitaille, he gets his old one, gets the old purple and gold. So the Kings were rebuilding after letting go of the departures of Simmer and Dion. They still didn't really have a goalie. Brett Ashton, one of the most traded guys in hockey. Brett Ashton been traded 8 times in his career. Played for Vancouver, Colorado, New Jersey, Minnesota, Quebec, Detroit, Winnipeg, Boston, and Calgary. All in 13 years. There's the Mike Bullard card. Now with Blues. So Gretzky didn't get that now with Blues thing. They didn't do that with him for some reason. Mike Bullard had scored 48 goals with Calgary too, so I was kind of surprised they traded him to St. Louis for Gilmore. He had 103 points. Like I said, he was a really good player. Played for a shitty Pittsburgh team in the 80s that could never get past the Islanders anyway. Then he went to the Flames, to the Blues, and played for Philly too. Rolly Melanson, they traded him to the Kings. He had 3 Stanley Cups with the Islanders. Naslin's in there. Paul Coffey's with the Penguins. This is also Bob Probert's rookie card. There's Mark Hunter, who was part of that trade for Mike Bullard. Terrible trade by the Blues. But the Blues got him back when they got Brett Hull. Joe Sorella, one of the last Colorado Rockies. Steve Yzerman, Rod Langway still there, Turgeon. This is also Pierre Turgeon's rookie year card. Another checklist. More players. Bob Gainey still in the league. He played 1 more year. He'd play until Montreal went to the next Stanley Cup final in 88-89, then he retired. Mike Krushelinski, he gets the trade to King symbol, but he's got a terrible airbrush. I always liked when they put the trade cards. Traded to Lanny McDonald's to there. He would play until Calgary won that Stanley Cup. Al McGinnis was on that team. Calgary had a really good team. Them and the Oilers matched up really well at this point. At the back is where you see more players from Canadian hockey teams. Rob Ramage is already wearing his Flames jersey. Larry Robinson. Don't usually see him at the back of a hockey card set. Charlie Simmers with the Penguins. Steve Smith went to the Sabres. Sabota, this is his rookie card, despite the fact that he played a lot of games. It's just because O-PEE-CHEE did their cuts in number, so he wasn't able to get a card until now. And then you got Mike Vernon in here. And finally, Kenny Reggett is the last card in this one. Former #1 draft pick Doug Wickenheiser. Too bad he never panned out in Montreal. I think Montreal made a mistake in how they handled him. And they probably should have went with Denny Savard. So there it is. 264 cards in all. It's a pretty good set. You're looking at Shanahan, Hall, Neuendijk are the 3 big rookies. And then you have to go with Turgeon, would be pretty close to. Bob Probert would be just only because of his hockey life and what he did as a fighter. But he's not a big name as far as that goes. I'd rather have Schultz from the 70s, Dave the Hammer. But anyway, that's the 1988 O-PEE-CHEE set. Anyone else out there have this set? Let me know what you guys think of this set. For me, this is not a bad set. I just wish they'd gone back up to the 396 cards. I know later on in the 90s they go up to 500 cards, which is a little too much. It's an interesting set, only because of the Gretzky, Gilmore, and Hull trades that happened. So all you hockey card fans out there, let me know if anyone has this set, and what do you think of the set? Leave comments in the comment section. Until next time, this has been Hockey Night in Belmont.